Absolutely.
It takes a lot to parent now. It takes quite a lot, and really have to pay deep attention to, because some of these things, I had a speaker who came in, and I think I've mentioned to you that, we see children degenerating because they've experienced so much, and then because of the issues their parents are dealing with, they are not able to help the children deal with the ones that they are dealing with, and the circle, just continues.
Yeah.
Well, God help us.
Honestly, it's a different era.
I know.
Raising Gen Z children, it's not a matter of do as I say.
No, that doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. Even do as I do may not work.
No, yeah.
So it's about you.
You have to parent the child in front of you.
Yes.
The one in front of you.
And explain why. Yeah, absolutely. So the way of raising a group of children and saying my children, I'm raising my children right. I'm infusing them with the values that we focus on in our family. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Love languages are different, learning styles are different, personalities are different.
These are obvious and exposed because of the virtual life.
Yes, the virtual life. It has a life of its own. You got that. It's a virtual life.
Yeah.
It's impacting them in ways that we cannot even begin to understand.
And the truth is, we can't overshield them. We're trying, but you're not there with them 100%.
Yeah.
So when you are there, you have to try to visualize the things that didn't happen in your presence, and then begin to see how you can understand it, and then begin to provide solutions.
So having that scenarios,
will
help you.
A lot of unlearning needs to go on with us parents.
Absolutely.
Because the way we were raised is quite different from the conversations I've been having. It's quite different from what's going on now. And if we want to raise our own children and the Gen Zs, like you rightly said, the way we were raised, then it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
It's not working. It's not working because we're seeing a lot of social unrest, especially when it comes to, and it's a lot to deal with. So how does this trauma degenerate? What are the effects on the child, their healthy growth and future orientation, especially if not identified and managed, accordingly, and their health consequences?
Oh dear. So you see, with every human being, we have a core belief system. If you have a core belief system that nobody likes me, you just believe that. It's how you grew up. Something must have happened.
I had that experience this week. One child just says, nobody likes me. I'm like, I have to start dissecting, okay, why did you think that? Where did that come from? Despite all you do, the conversations you have, being present, why would that thought even come? Why would that conversation even happen? And I started recounting the things that we do to make your life better. In fact, I had to threaten that we'll move out since you feel like we don't love you. Let's move out so you stay by yourself. And then I think it now began to sink in that okay, maybe I'm being a bit selfish. I'm probably looking for a particular thing that I didn't get, and because of that, I know that it can be a bit tricky, with children and their expectations sometimes. So let me not just take the word off your mouth. Let's continue.
Yeah. So when I say people have core beliefs, is something may have triggered it at some point growing up, where they believe nobody likes me, I'm useless, I'm worthless. But you see, it doesn't just stop there. It creates automatic negative thoughts. So when they see their friends from a distance, maybe during break, and the children are facing a different direction, instead of them to just see it as they are pointing at something, or let me walk up to my friends and have a conversation, they already have a mindset. And then you hear things like, they just turn their back against me, they will never call me, they will never ask me out on a play date, or this exam we're about to write, I won't pass it. I don't know anything. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough.
They always say that I don't know anything.
So those thoughts just, and then when those thoughts come, because they're automatic based on that core belief, and then it affects every other thing. when you have maybe job interviews or even school interviews to, maybe common entrance or something, is there any need to do it? After all, I will not get it, I will not pass. Because I am useless or I am worthless. So those things just keep coming. And it's from there, the thoughts, that it begins to play out in their behavior. So when you find that you say some children are awkward, or some children say certain things, and in your mind you're asking, why are you behaving like this? Why are you not seeing it as every other person? So you can say that the issues that need to be addressed is not what they're saying, where some people say, okay, address, be positive in your words, the words you say. That's not where the problem is. It's from the core belief. It needs to be addressed from the roots. So the issues that the children face, how they respond to trauma, it needs to be addressed with, from that part up, and that would, then begin to influence the way they see things, how they manage situations. It does not mean they will not have those thoughts come to their head anymore. But how do they respond to those thoughts? And what do they need to begin to do, to put themselves in the positive light? So they need to stop having that all or nothing approach from I'm a horrible mother, or I'm a horrible sister. I'm never there for my sister. I'm never there for my brother. Or just generalize over generalizing. And so those kind of children, when certain things like that happen, as a parent, you find out that your child has that kind of pattern of behavior or conversations, you begin to ask them, okay, so what have you done in this area?
Or begin to point them to
things that they're good at. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a horrible sister and 10 being a very good sister, where do you think you fall? Well, but Bolaji thinks I'm a terrible... No, we're not talking about Bolaji here. You, based on the actions you take to protect your sister, support your sister with her homework, being there for her, playing with her, where do you think you fall? You're by listening, you're also trying to remind her and guide her as to where she is. So you're going to hear something like a 7 or an 8, and you're like, 8 is not bad. 1 to 10, 8 out of 10. So you've helped address and attack that automatic negative thoughts. For her to realize, look, you're not that useless. So you remind her that, okay, so it may be that in this particular action, perhaps you were thinking more of yourself than your sister. Yes, I admit you may have been a bit self-centered or selfish in this decision making, but does that rule out all the good things that you have done? Does that rule out how useful and how valuable you've been to your sister? No. Very good. So you can see that this kind of conversation will not happen in a school environment or a school setting. It has to happen with the parents intervening and ensuring that certain core beliefs are, disrupted or, recreated.
Wow. There's a certain question I want to ask. It has to do with parents basically in our climb now, dropping off the children, paying their fees, and practically transferring responsibility of both physical, emotional, spiritual, social, and then of course the educational upbringing of a child to the teacher and the educational system. Can we discuss what are your thoughts on this?
It's such an interesting topic that comes up everywhere.
I know.
Because parents work so hard to pay for their children's fees, and so they don't want to believe that there should be any problem after that. I've sent my child to school. My child should be fine. My child should behave well, should be obedient, should be respectful. And then they forget that the real reason why your child was sent to school is to impact them and prepare them to be able to solve problems in the future. Yes, we educators have a role to play in terms of contributing a tiny part to moral behavior, spiritual support, emotional support. But really, bottom line, that still needs to be done at home. It needs to be started at home. It needs to be completed at home.
In fact, it's not usually just outsourced to you teachers at school.
Because teachers change every year.
Outsourced also to Sunday school.
Yes.
Children's church teachers.
Yeah.
You know, they outsource the spiritual upbringing, you know, to the children church teachers or Sunday school teachers, and then, you know, the other part they dump it on the school or even the nannies.
Yes, they forget that children have a special connection to their parents, and when children don't like an adult deeply, they would not listen to that adult. So a teacher may be playing their role in school, trying to impact all around, but when the child is not interested, the child is not interested. When the child is wondering, why should I be the one? Why should you be the one to tell me what to do? You're here to just teach me, you know? And then, you know, they have that mindset even with the nannies. So when nannies are trying to correct, you find situations where children report to their parents that Auntie Amina or Auntie Bosse is trying to just telling me what to do, and I told her, you know, and those ones, so they're not armed with a lot of knowledge or skills. And so when you throw things at them or throw jabs at them, everybody just shuts down. But the truth remains that every person in the life of a child has a role to play. It's influential to the child. Daddy has the role to play in helping a child to be more logical and, you know, just have an overview of what life is like outside, having to work, to take care of the family, to be responsible. Mother has the role to play in showing empathy, you know, impacting the child, reminding the child, guiding the child, preparing them for the future, helping with homework, teaching them that part. Grandparents have a role to play, teaching them depth and experience, helping the children realize that there's something called the law of cause and effect.
And then, of course, culture. Culture
has a role to play, location. So shielding your children from their physical location is not a good idea, because obviously you know now that children have a virtual life. You know, the virtual life can be so strong that it supersedes the importance of a physical life, physical relationship with people, you know, seeing that there is more to life outside than what's happening in there. That's not the real life. You know, that part is there.
There are people who actually don't leave their houses.
They don't. Community helpers. You see the cleaners on the road that sweep the estates, streets. They need to see them. You see the bus conductors. They need to see that some people are actually working, you know, to make ends meet, so that they can show empathy. So it's not a matter of you are a low life, I'm up there. Because also, how do we want them to impact other people with that kind of mindset? So having them have an understanding that policemen are there. I'm not saying trust policemen.
To create order.
Yeah, but just create order in the life of the child. The child should understand that it really does take a village to raise a child. It does not mean the police has a say over your child. It just means that your child observing a police from afar, making a good or a poor decision, can ask you, Mommy, why is that policeman doing that? Because the child may have seen you always making good decisions and think everybody's like that. But when your child says, why is that policeman collecting money from that man? And then you say, oh, sadly, that's what we have to face because of the breakdown in the law system, legal system. So you talking through, they having an experience of all the people around them and being able to ask questions improves their depth, improves their general overview of what life is. So that when they're out there, wherever they find themselves, they have what you call the street sense. They have an understanding of how things work. They have an understanding how to solve problems and people that are involved in the problem, the stakeholders, and how, you know, certain things can be handled. So we have a lot to do. We have the religion too. Thinking, shutting children out of religion is absolutely a no-no because it's a part of their culture as well. You know, that's where they learn values. That's where they learn morals. That's where they learn, oh, this is what is expected. That's when they understand that we are not just a physical body, but there is a spiritual aspect to us. There is a mental aspects to us. Having that understanding that, a physical body has both the mind and the spiritual body. And not the physical body is what you feed. You need to feed your spiritual self with certain disciplines. You need to feed your mind with certain habits. So they need to have that totality of understanding, so that you're not thinking my child is so materialistic. And I'm not like that, so I don't know. I'm not like that. Why is my child like that? But because they are not exposed
to
the remaining dimensions of who they are. So you should expect that they have that mindset and they begin to develop a personality based on what they are exposed to.
Well, what really prepares you for parenting?
Nothing. Everything.
Because it's
nothing and everything.
All these conversations, I feel like it's a lot for parents, really.
Yes.
Because you have to deal with so much. So what actually prepares you? How do you get ready?
I think for every parent, what gets you ready is your commitment. Your commitment to want to be a parent. Because you're going to make mistakes. And there will be times you have to own up and say, I made a mistake.
Everyone makes mistakes.
I'm sorry. Okay, but this is what I've learned now. So we're going to unlearn together and children love when that happens. Because we're always the ones correcting them. So they never forget those times when you come and tell them, I goofed. I made a mistake. Because honestly, parenting is a learning journey. You're just never there. Because as your children are growing, meeting new people, having different experiences, you also have to meet up and match up and be there to guide them. But that commitment to want to make that impact, that's commitment to say, you know what, I want you to live the life much better than I lived. I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. It helps you to open your eyes to the resources around that can help you guide your children.
Keep an open mind towards them, really.
Yes.
So that, you're not acting out, but first taking in, then understand what's going on, then before you begin to react. Not that we shouldn't react, really, but we need to first understand, because we're quick to anger, quick to reacting, quick to name calling, quick to punishment. And
because we're tired.
We have a lot to. We have to work. We have to pay school fees.
Yes.
We have to pay other bills. We have to be daughters. We have to be
mothers. We have to be brothers.
We have to be bosses. We have to be everything. And at the end of the day, you still have to come and parent.
So when you come in and your child is having that, when you're like, what is all this one? Is it every time you need attention? Please leave me alone. You just want to just react and like, please go and sit, go and sleep. I'm tired. I'm also tired. I need somebody to take care of me. We
are very quick to do that, especially mothers.
What about me? Somebody needs to take care of me.
We get overwhelmed and we're quick to say that.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, parenting, it's a journey worth enjoying. And you enjoy it when you realize that as you help your child discover themselves, you're also discovering a part of you that you never knew was there. We talked earlier about how, a damaged parent will raise a damaged child, But when you own up and say, look, I'm not perfect. We are learning on this journey together. I'm going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but we're going to walk through it together. It helps your mindset as a parent. So at the times when you realize, oh, I did mess up here. I shouldn't have reacted this way. I shouldn't have said that. You're quick to own up and apologize. Or you're quick to talk to yourself and just find a way to quickly resolve the issue before it gets more complicated.
And I think we need to open up our minds more and stop being in our heads, just stop being providers. Because that's what a lot of parents think they are. Just bring a child into the world, provide for the child, and the child takes it on from there. No, we are much more than that. We need to open up our minds,
and we need to nurture them. Because in the place of wanting to provide for the best for your children, and you're like, you know what, I had to hustle after school. I don't want you to do that. So I already have a college fund, or I've already, I have a property in your name. Now the thing is, if your child is not thoroughly bred up or brought up well, the child,
streetwise,
the child will not be able to sustain the wealth you have passed to them and increase it. So your child should not just take on what you've given them, but they should also be a multiplier. So you have to remember, in all of you wanting to provide for your children, am I teaching my child to be a multiplier? Am I teaching my child to sustain what he has been given?
That's basically preparing
them for the future, you know. So those are the areas, because you see, a child who is not interested in your area of career, you know, is just saying, and it may not be because they don't have interest in it, but they feel like this part of my mom or my dad's life always takes their attention from me. I don't like it.
It robs me as a child.
It robbed me as a child. So you see children, for example, pastor children, where they say they don't like church because church took all of daddy's or mommy's attention. You know, all those kind of things.
Talk about that. There's so much to talk
honestly,
about.
you know, so you need to let them on. You need to be able to consciously develop a well-rounded life, so that your children also have a well-rounded, you know, response to some of the different areas that you know, you have roles as a mother, as a sister, so they understand that, okay, mom has different roles, she has different responsibilities, she's doing her best. They come from that angle. They want to love some of the things that you do. They want to be a part of it. You know, so you want that. You don't want a situation where you've worked so hard, you want to pass down a company or a business to them, and in their mind they're thinking this works because they don't love it because it took away mommy and daddy's attention.
First, we need to it's just understanding a lot of things.
Yes.
Taking a step back,
yes,
not being quick to just jump in. Take a step back and analyze, understand before.
And you see how the children will multiply. They will multiply everything you give them. The attention you give them, they will multiply. The love you give them, they will multiply. The empathy you show them, they will multiply to others. The problem solving that you show them with the ease at which they can solve problems, they multiply. So when they don't see you as a reactive parent, as an authoritarian, do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. They are growing, and they realize they have a life of their own. They can loan ideas to you that you never thought of, and you're like, even if you know those ideas, you've tried them before, you'll be like, that's a brilliant idea, that's worth considering. Let me see how that can work.
And we need to know that we don't have monopoly of knowledge.
We don't.
We can learn from these children. We need to chill.
Oh, yes.
And know that we can actually learn from them.
Yes. Because the way their brain works, it is crazy. Because these are children that were born in the era of technology. So the rate at which they take in knowledge, they explore. Your mind cannot even capture it. So you need to understand that when they're saying something, they're sure of what they're saying, because they've been exposed to that knowledge. So you ask them reasons, just help them to reason more. So why do you say that? Did you say that somewhere? Do you want us to look at it together? You're also helping them to reason, to analyze. You're teaching them those skills as well. And you're also teaching them to be collaborative, because they're collaborating with you. So, and these are the 21st century skills that we need for our own world,
To be an educator is not easy. Okay, so going on, how early is early in terms of mentorship for children? How can we begin to adopt mentoring sessions into or within our educational systems, and how effective do you think this would be?
Honestly, the areas, the subjects that we have not considered in education needs to be considered.
Mentorship.
Financial responsibility, mentorship, understanding their emotions. Yes.
Yeah. Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. These are areas that we need to actually imbibe into education and innovate education as it is. Because that's the real life scenarios that the children need to have an understanding of. Mentorship, for children, it's actually very important. The reason why it's usually overlooked is because we always have this idea that the children don't know what they want yet.
And then the teachers are there.
Our teachers are there and don't understand that the teachers are impacting knowledge. They are introducing concepts. They are helping the child, develop higher order reasoning or thinking. And don't realize that this mentorship has to do with a child being aware of who they are. When a child understands that this is the best way I can learn, this is what I like to do, this is the extracurricular activities I like. Having that general knowledge is already building a foundation for their future. So it's not about being a banker. A banker, entrepreneur, all of us are solving problems. We are problem solvers. We're just earning money for solving problems. So what you need to stop thinking of, okay, I need to bring in a financial person. But a mentor is someone that can help your child understand who they are at this time. And help them to apply themselves outside of, the school knowledge and school environment. So it is very important, because then the child understands, okay, I am more, I tend to gravitate more towards numbers. I like numbers. When you have that knowledge already, you're not sure who you want to be, whether an engineer, whether an astronaut or whatever, but you like numbers. You like your oral in nature. Oral, that means you're very good with diagrams, data interpretation. Okay, good. So how can you use this in a real life scenario? How can you present this to people? That's part of mentoring. So this is your area.
Knowledge, then how can you
impact knowledge? Because we have so many data gurus, but they cannot, for the life of them, present an excellent job that they've done in front of people, because they feel they are not good enough, or they feel
why this question is important to me. Yeah. Recently, my daughter had a contest in school, and she was selected by her team as the CEO of the group. Yes. And somehow they had the debate in school, and eventually they won. They emerged the winners. And it just struck me that if I wasn't there, so as the CEO and her dad as the CEO, were able to help her, guide her, work with her,
yes,
and she was able to learn and then go, express herself, and sold the idea, and she was able to do, taking that knowledge and then go impact
first-hand experience.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And so it struck me that the very first time I had an opportunity to talk outside classroom, raising my hand and stuff, they don't do debates so much in school anymore.
Persuasive.
They don't do that anymore. The first time I had the opportunity to do it was when I did presentation of my what do they call it? Projects at my final year.
Oh dear.
And then I went in to do NYSC, went to do my job. When I started my career, I never wanted to be in a place where I had to talk to people, present anything, because I didn't have that skill.
Which you could have gotten as a mentoring skill at a younger age.
So if Nicole didn't have the opportunity, if I didn't have the opportunity I got in with my husband when I started real estate, I don't know if I would have been able to thrive. So if she didn't get that opportunity, I don't know if she would have been able to do very well. Not to say that the other people or people wouldn't do well, but I'm saying that mentorship, yes, would help you really discover who you are, your abilities, and propel you, to take on things that you never even
thought you could.
Yes, and bring out those things that you never knew you had in you. And so I feel like it's more than half the time you see mentoring only, mostly up there. It's supposed to trickle all the way down. And go, vertical.
Yes.
So I think it's too late for us to be waiting till we are working in a career space to be
looking for a mentor.
Why are we not introducing it at even the primary or secondary school level?
It should be the part of the curriculum, and I'm hoping that one of the people who will listen to this will be someone in the space of education, especially in Lagos or wherever they find themselves, because it can actually be inculcated into the curriculum. It can be inculcated. You can create a curriculum for it. You can create a content of how to help children be self-aware. And in the process of being self-aware, the area in which you've noticed their strengths, you can help to develop it further. And the areas you see that they are having challenges, you also find someone that can train them in that area.
And if they see someone who is actually doing it and doing it well, talking to them about it, it makes it a bit more easier. If this person has done it and is excelling at it, then I can't see anything.
If
right now we still see children struggling with what they want to achieve or be, who they want to be in future. They say they speak to guidance counselors in school, or I don't know who they speak to now. But I don't think
that's what they need. They need someone to develop. They need someone to develop a skill. Because counselors will listen. Counselors will use what you've told them to direct you, basically, and just sort of push you in the direction you want, but they're not going to develop your skills. They're not going to tell you, this is where I think you're good at, this is where you need to work on. So it is up to us, parents and educators, the school community, every stakeholder, to ensure that this is part of the curriculum, to ensure that we can, we can actually find a way to help these children, so that by the time they are 20, 30, and they have to face an international audience, because of course that happens virtually, they don't feel like they're not good enough, because they've had these conversations over and over again. They have people they can still contact, their mentors. So they send a mail to the mentor. Guess what? I'm having to present an international conference, or I'm about to facilitate a TEDx conference. What do you think? How do you think I should be? And the person remind them, do you remember we've gone through this? You are more than able to stand in front of these people. You have the knowledge set, you have the skill set, you just need to open your mouth and let them have a glimpse into what you carry on your inside. That's it.
It sounds so easy, but then applying most
that's why it takes a village to raise a child. A parent can't do all that, a teacher can't do all that. So now we understand that other people need to be involved in raising our children.
Well, I want to go a bit more personal now. I didn't add pastor to her name. She's actually a pastor and a pastor's wife. Growing up, did you ever imagine that, you were going to end up being a pastor's wife?
No way.
Or being a pastor?
No.
Yourself?
No, I still deal with that. I still have identity crisis in that area. Because one of the second time I met my husband, he wasn't pastoring then, but the conversation I had with him was a conversation of I wasn't going to plan to get married, and then I don't know how people who are married to pastors actually leave. I was very, very open in that area, because I feel like certain people in certain positions always feel the need to label people and expect a certain behavior from them. Expects that they should be like this.
They should be
prim and proper and all of that.
Yeah.
So I found, majority of my time in marriage rebelling that label, wanting to be myself, fighting to be myself, and saying, look, it's a title, it's a role out of the so many other roles that I play.
And society gives so much responsibility.
Yes, and I'm one who does not like labeling. I just don't like any labeling of some sort. So for me, being called that is because you provide pastoral care for people. It means that you're impacting.
It's an extension of what you already do,
which is what I do, really. So I didn't see myself in that area, quite honestly. I keep saying sometimes jokingly that if I knew my husband was going to be a pastor, maybe I would not have even gone in that area. But then again, I'm embracing it because of who I am. I'm not. It's not what defines me. you know. It's not, it's just another area of my life that's, you know, also aligns with my values, aligns with my system, aligns with the way I do things.
Even your career path.
So it's easy, my career path. Yeah. So it's okay. It's okay. But I'm always very quick to tell people, you know, don't put a pastor before my name. You might as well call me mother, you know, this person, or wife, this person. It's just one of those rules. You know, what you can do is to give, you know, your best in that area, you know, and that's what I do. You know, I've made up my mind. I'm not going to be one who will who is just waiting for someone to come and sow into my life, or, you know, take care of my needs. No, I want to be able to not only take care of my needs, but take care of the needs of other people, you know. So, and my husband happens to be that kind of person as well. So it's a good fit for us, you know. We are looking at a bigger picture of reaching out to people, reaching out and impacting lives. And for me, that's it, you know. So it's a beautiful experience.
And you're enjoying the role now.
Yes, I am, because now people around me understand me for that. You know, I'm quick to tell people, look, don't put pastor before my name. If you cannot call me by my name, you know, find another way. But don't think, because there's something society does when they call you that name. For me, I feel like it breaks any connection you can have with the person, because when you are named as the perfect,
expectation is very high, and you're human,
and then also people just have this notion that, you know, you're perfect. You don't want to see my imperfections. My insecurity may not look good, you know, with you. And again, like I said, that's not who I am. So I'm always quick to, you know what, I am here to bridge the gap. I am here to connect people. I'm here to help people. I don't want to be the one to break people, you know, break apart that connection. So I'm always quick to remind people I'm human. I like the things that you like. I mean, there must have been something. So now that we mentioned the pastor, I can just quickly chip in Jesus. There must have been something that made Jesus different from the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The Pharisees had the way they dressed. They had the way they behaved. They lived in certain areas. They did things in a particular way. Jesus just came different. What he had was the heart. What he had was the vision of what he wanted for the people. So he must have, to an extent, looked like every other person to have been able to fit into the society. And that's how I see myself, as someone who needs to fit into the society. I need to be able to identify the needs that people have. I need to be able to meet the needs that they have. I need to be able to be vulnerable enough for people to be vulnerable to me as well and open up to me. So that's my own model. Your own view. So if you see me anywhere and I'm just different and I'm enjoying myself and I'm having fun, and you're like,
just
okay,
Bisi.
I'm just me. I'm just Bisi, just there hanging out there. Then you have that understanding of who I am.
Thank you so much. One last question before I release you and let you go. If you weren't an educator or a trauma therapist, what do you think you would have been doing now?
Okay, probably an advocate, a societal reformer. Be in the public space of maybe policy reforms, because I feel that's a place where you can also make a change. You can make an impact on the society, on every, you know, stakeholder in the community. So perhaps that would be my space.
Interesting. It all has to do with humans and making impacts, and for me, that's amazing. So I'd like to say thank you so much.
Thank you
for spending time with us, for having this honest and very interesting conversations and experiences, sharing with us truly. I know that for a fact that, you know, I have learned, and I know that everyone who is going to partake in this would, you know, take out one nugget or the other. So I'd like to say thank you very much again for sharing.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I'd like to say thank you to every one of you for, you know, taking out time to watch and to learn. It's very important for us as parents to actually be present, you know, and parent our children individually, and not just put everyone together and realize that at the end of the day that, you know, there are certain things that we could have done differently in the life of each individual or specific child, you know, because she had a sister she was quite different from, and, you know, even though they grew up together, though her sister was more, much older, and at different times they were, apart. But she had things that she was dealing with that her sister, didn't even have to deal with. And so her sister even blotted out a couple of times that she was adopted. But then I'm glad she realized that, that pattern, she wanted to understand it more, and then, help others today and tomorrow to be able to deal with those situations or challenges when they find themselves there. And that's why she decided to become a trauma therapist, and then of course an educator. Thank you so much for spending time with us here, and I hope this has blessed you, and it would help you in your journey of parenting, because that's what we're actually trying to do. I'm learning, I'm trying to be a better parent every day, and I'm trying to help us all learn the different techniques, the challenges, the styles, it's just uncountable. And we don't have the monopoly of knowledge. I like to learn from other people, and that way I can apply myself more as a parent. Thank you so much, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell everyone in your community to join us and join in the conversations. Whatever you want to ask or learn, you can send us messages, and then we can address them. Thank you.